Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 70 of the Unstoppable Entertainment Show, the most comprehensive entertainment news show on the internet. I am, of course, Nate Schaffner, otherwise known as the Unstoppable Nate. How are you all doing? I hope you're doing well. I hope everything is going okay in everyone else's lives, and if not, I hope that this show provides a brief break from whatever it is that you're going through. I always say, it's a crazy world out there, and part of the goal of this show, at least, is to bring joy to everyone's lives and talk about you know film and television and the stuff that I'm passionate about, and hopefully you get something out of it. So yeah, I hope everyone's doing okay. Before uh, before I get started, I just wanted to remind everyone that if you like this show, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, spread the word. Also, if you have a comment, a question, or if you'd like me to talk about certain movies or franchises, you can email me anytime at the address listed in the description of this video. So, with that out of the way, let's get started with this. Um, so, one of my favorite actresses is Viola Davis. I think she's a chameleon actress. I first, she was in the um, whatever you think about the Snyderverse DC films. I mean, um she played um I'm sorry, I'm blanking on her name. She played Amanda Waller in the Snyderverse DC films. She was great. I mean, say whatever you want about those movies, but she was great in them. Um, she was also in Fences. She won the Oscar for Fences. She was phenomenal in that movie. Um, and she was also in this movie called Widows, which I talked about last episode, which is great. She was in The Help. Um, she was in. I need to see this movie that came out a few years ago called The Woman King, and I need to see that because it looked really awesome. Um, but I love her as an actress. She's got this new movie coming called Allie Clark. Um, and there's been some casting news regarding that movie. This article is on Variety, published by Mark Malkin. Lioness and The Walking Dead actor Jay Huguley has joined the cast of Allie Clark, Philip Noyce's upcoming Amazon MGM Studios thriller. The film, starring and produced by EGOT winner. By the way, how awesome is that? That can I just Viola Davis is an EGOT winner. She's won an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony. That's fucking amazing. So, okay, so the film, starring and produced by EGOT winner Viola Davis, follows investigator Allie Clark as she uncovers a conspiracy involving an international conglomerate following the suspicious death of a close friend. Huguley's role has not been revealed. This sounds really interesting, and I love movies like this where stories about multi-billion-dollar corporations getting investigated over the death of one of their employees or close friends, or you know what this reminds me of. There was a movie that um, Mel Gibson was in. It came out in 2010. It came out in 2010, and it was a movie that Mel Gibson was in, and he hadn't acted in quite a long time. He had done some directing, but anyway, he hadn't acted, and he was in this movie called Edge of Darkness, which was directed by Martin Campbell, and it had a similar plot to this, where the Mel Gibson's character's daughter was murdered and there was investigation into this multi-billion-dollar corporation. I love movies like this. It also reminds me of Aaron Brockovich, a little bit. I love conspiracy drama movies like this. By the way, Edge of Darkness, if you haven't seen it, it's okay. It's okay. Mel Gibson is awesome in that movie. Oh my god. And the action is great. Excuse me. This sounds a little bit like that, and this sounds really interesting, and I love that Viola Davis is going to be a movie like this. Okay, so here's my confession. I have not watched The Walking Dead. It's not by choice. Trust me. The Walking Dead that genre is right up my alley. I just haven't gotten around to it. I know. But this sounds really interesting, and it really sounds like a meaty role for Viola Davis. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. This sounds great. So jump in the comments section and let me know what you guys think about Allie Clark, starring Viola Davis and Jay Huguli, or Huguli. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Okay, so a bit of TV news. And this is interesting. Because one of my there's in this DC universe, the one that started with Creature Commandos and last year's Superman movie. There's it's being headed up by James Gunn and Peter Safran. There's this Lanterns show coming. It's a Green Lantern TV series on HBO Max. It's going to be called Lanterns, and they've released the brand new. It was a few days ago, but it was a brand new trailer, and it looks awesome. It looks awesome. If you haven't seen the trailer, or if you're interested in seeing the trailer, you should watch it. Well, at the very end of this trailer, we see an actress who going to be honest, I didn't even know was in it, but it made me smile to realize when I realized that she was in it, when I saw her. Laura Linney is going to be in Lanterns. She is going to play. Uh, uh, hold on. So there's no confirmation about who she's going to play. However, there is speculation because if you see her in the trailer, she's talking to. Uh, if you see her in the trailer, you can speculate that Laura Linney is playing Carol Ferris, who was Hal Jordan's love interest, and then went on to she became this Star Sapphire. Laura Linney is going to be in this series, and that's awesome. Laura Linney is great. I first saw her in um, the Truman Show with Jim Carrey, and she's great. She was great in that movie. Obviously, she's great on Ozark, the TV series with Jason Bateman. What else was? Oh yeah, she was in Sully with Tom Hanks, and she's great in that. She's so good in that. Um, let's see here. What else do? She was in um, uh, Love Actually. She was in Love Actually. She's great in Love. She's great in Mystic River. She's awesome, and it kind of made me smile when I saw her in in this new trailer. I can't wait for this. I just wanted to talk about the fact that Laura Linney is going to be in this show. Um, I know. Look, I know the show is called Lanterns, and it's going to be a Green Lantern show. But wouldn't it be cool if to see her become Star Sapphire? That would be awesome. So jump in the comment section and let me know what you guys think about Laura Linney appearing in, or she's going to be in this Lanterns TV series. Okay, so this next bit of news is interesting. Um, so for those who don't know, um, there is a well, there was a. I want to make sure I get my information correct. Uh, so there was. I don't know when it was filmed. Okay, so last year there was a pilot or a first episode. Um, there was a pilot filmed for what was hoped to be a show called Very Young Frankenstein. And um, when I first heard about a pilot being filmed for a show called Very Young Frankenstein, I was like, okay, is this going to be like, depending on what it is, I may or may not be interested, because there were rumors and reports. So there were rumors and reports that it was obviously going to be related to the Young Frankenstein movie with Gene Wilder, which I love. It's directed by Mel Brooks. I think Young Frankenstein may be um, Mel Brooks's finest hour. Mel Brooks's best film. I fucking love Young Frankenstein, and a lot of let me just say this. A big reason. First of all, I think it's probably Mel Brooks' best film. It's certainly one of the best comedies ever. But a big reason I love Young Frankenstein is because um, um, they in Young Frankenstein they used the original laboratory equipment and props from the 1931 Frankenstein movie, which the original 1931 Frankenstein, um, I may or may not be. I remember the first time I watched it, and I was like, I think I just watched the greatest horror movie ever made. The original Frankenstein is awesome. It's great. It's a classic. And a big reason why I love Young Frankenstein is because they use the original sets and the lab equipment and the props from Frankenstein. And I was like, that, like, I got, the first time I watched Young Frankenstein, I got goosebumps. Because I was like, holy shit, that's so awesome. So, last year there was this pilot filmed for something called Young Frankenstein, or Very Young Frankenstein. And immediately I was like, okay, it's called Very Young Frankenstein. Obviously, it's going to be related to Young Frankenstein. The question is how? Is it going to be a spin-off? Is it going to be its own thing? You know, what is it going to be? Because depending on what it is, I may or may not be interested. So, it evidently Very Young Frankenstein will be a prequel to Young Frankenstein. Now, to say that making a prequel to Young Frankenstein is a daunting task, to say that it is a daunting task would be the understatement of the century. But last year, a pilot was filmed for what they hoped would become a series, and evidently, the response to the pilot was very positive. This article is on Joe Blow, published by Kevin Fraser. So this series is going to be on FX, the FX channel. FX has given a series order to Very Young Frankenstein, a new comedy based on the classic film by Mel Brooks. And this article goes on to say, Very Young Frankenstein has the blessing of Mel Brooks and comes from some of the team behind FX's What We Do in the Shadows. Brooks will executive produce alongside Garrett Bash and Stefani Robinson, who will serve as writer and showrunner. Taika Waititi directed the pilot. Brooks' producing partner, Kevin Salter, is also on board as an executive producer, as is original Young Frankenstein producer Michael Gruskoff. The pilot was shot last year, starring Zach Galifianakis, Kumail Nanjiani, Dolly Wells, Spencer House, Nikki Crawford, and Carrie Elwes. Details are pretty sparse, but given the title, you might expect it to be set before the events of the 1974 movie. Okay. First of all, let me talk about this cast. I like Zach Galifianakis. I think sometimes he doesn't get the best material, but I think he's great. I love Kumail Nanjiani. He's incredibly talented. And I love Carrie. I'm not too familiar with a few names like Dolly Wells or Spencer House and Nikki Crawford. I don't know too much about them. But I love Carrie Elwes as well. Carrie Elwes, Princess Bride, Days of Thunder, Liar Liar. He is fantastic. So this pilot, it's been given, Very Young Frankenstein has been given a series order. Great. Awesome. My question is, well, I have a couple of thoughts. One, I hope it's good. And two, how if it's been given a series order. How long is it going to run? Like if it's just going to be one season, like I have a thing about TV, or streaming series, TV series, streaming series. I have a thing about that, and it sounds weird to a lot of people, but it's like I don't want to invest my time into a TV series that's only going to last one season, because then I felt like I wasted my time. I would rather invest in a series that lasts multiple seasons, like 3 or more, because then I get something out of it. So if this TV series ends up only lasting one season, like I'm going to be honest with you, I'm going to wait to see how long this show lasts before I invest in it. And so we'll see how that goes. I again, following in the footsteps of Young Frankenstein is no easy task. I hope this show runs for a while. I hope it's good. And it's great that the people involved with Young Frankenstein have either given their blessing or they're involved in this show as well. That's awesome. My concern is I hope it's good, and how long will this show run? Because if it's only going to last 1 or 2 seasons, I'm probably not going to invest in it. But anyway, it's been ordered a series. Great. So jump in the comment section and let me know what you guys think about Very Young Frankenstein getting a series order. Okay. Moving on here. One of my favorite actors is Willem Dafoe. I think he's a chameleon actor. I think he disappears into every role that he's in. I recently watched Spider-Man No Way Home for like the billionth time. Man, he's so good in that. I mean, his facial expressions are just he's great. He's great. Now, he doesn't need me to tell him that, but I will if I get the chance. Um, and being in a, he's done it all. You know, going all the way back to The English Patient. He's worked with Robert Eggers and Nosferatu and other films. He was in The Lighthouse. He's fantastic. And then he got his I think he got the Oscar nomination for The Florida Project. He's great. Was it The Florida Project? I don't want to mess that up. Yeah, he was nominated for The Florida Project. He was nominated for At Eternity's Gate. He was nominated for Platoon. Platoon is awesome. He's great. Well, he's got this new movie coming, and it's this dystopian movie, which I don't know what that says about me, but I love dystopian, futuristic movies. Let's watch a movie where the world has gone to shit. So, he's going to be in this new dystopian movie, and there's been some casting news regarding that movie. So, there was this international, I guess the proper term now is international film instead of foreign film, called I'm Still Here. And I'm just gonna. There was an actress in that movie named Fernanda Torres, who I'm gonna be honest, I'm not familiar with. Oh, Willem Dafoe was also. He's great in Poor Things with Emma Stone. Excuse me, he's great. So anyway, Fernanda Torres. This article is on Variety, published by Ana Marie de la Fuente. Brazil's Fernanda Torres, Oscar nominated for her stirring performance in Walter Salles' 2025 International Feature Academy Award winner I'm Still Here, is joining four-time Oscar nominee Willem Dafoe in Barbara Paz's upcoming feature Cuddle. That's the title of the movie. Cuddle. Set in a near-future metropolis where intimacy is bought and sold, Cuddle follows Dante, played by Willem Dafoe, a professional cuddler paid to provide warmth, comfort, and human connection to strangers. I think I've talked about this movie before, actually. There's just been no movement on it until now. Let's see. This article continues. His solitary life is upended when he meets Ava, played by Torres, an immigrant woman whose quiet strength and deep empathy awaken something long buried in them both. Their unlikely connection becomes a lifeline and a chance at transformation, a moving reminder that even the smallest act of affection can change a life forever. You know, I recall talking about this movie before, but I want to obviously talk about it again. You know, this casting news, Fernanda Torres, you know, I always say that more casting news means they're going to start filming soon, which I am very excited for. A moving reminder that even the smallest act of affection can change a life forever. and Willem Dafoe is gonna. He's a professional cuddler paid to provide warmth, comfort, and human connection to strangers. You know, I was talking with somebody the other day about how we live in a world now where everything is so polarizing and everybody's mean and toxic to each other. And it's just, you never know what somebody is going through. You never know how one teeny tiny act of kindness will do to a person. You could this one small act of kindness could be the best part of someone's day. And I just want to mention, lately, and by lately I mean the past few months, I've been trying to stay off of social media because there's a lot of hate and vitriol on social media. I don't know how successful I've been at it about staying off of social media, but I'm trying very hard because I can't. I try hard to be a very discerning, a very non-judgmental kind of person. I've always said, like, if I don't care who you are, I don't care what sexuality, what your background is, I don't care. If you're nice to me, I'll be nice to you, and it's as simple as that. And I've always tried to be like that. And I think we live in a world now where kindness is frowned upon, or not frowned upon necessarily, but kindness is it's kindness in our world seems to be slipping away, which I find quite troubling, actually. Um, so I like that this movie Cuddle, will. It seems like this movie will touch upon how important it is to be kind to people. Like, just be nice, damn it. you know, it's not that hard. It really is not. And this sounds very interesting. And it's certainly an interesting role. One of the many interesting roles that Willem Dafoe has had in his career. And this sounds great. This sounds great. I mean, it's and this connection that he has with this person that he cuddles with ends up changing both their lives. I mean, that sounds like this could tug at the heartstrings a little bit. This sounds great. I'm not familiar with Fernanda Torres, but it will be great to see her in this movie. This sounds wonderful to me. I think I don't want to read too much into it, but I think this is the kind of movie that we need right now. So yeah, jump in the comment section and let me know your thoughts on Cuddle. Yeah. All right, so moving on here. I've been on this show recently. I've been talking a lot about this movie, Tyrant, which is this culinary thriller, um, kind of like Whiplash, um, and it's going to be directed by David Wheel. It sounds really, really great. Um, and there's been more casting news regarding that movie. Um, this article is on Deadline, published by Matt Grobar. This article says Michael Chiklis has inked a deal to join Tyrant, David Whale's culinary thriller for Amazon MGM Studios, led by Charlize Theron, Julia Garner, and Demi Moore. No word yet on the role to be played by Chiklis. I should say that this article does point out that the movie is filming right now. And this article says, again, like I've pointed out, Tyrant is billed as a high-stakes thriller in the vein of Wall Street and Whiplash, set within New York City's elite fine dining scene. So Michael Chiklis has joined this movie. Michael Chiklis is awesome. He's awesome. He kind of gives off this. One of the reasons that I love Michael Chiklis is he's always seemed to be like this giant teddy bear of a man. Like he's an incredibly nice guy, unless you piss him off. You know what I mean? I could be entirely wrong, but I've watched him in interviews, and he just seems like this, like that kind of a guy. Michael Chiklis is awesome. Obviously being on The Shield, that's one of the most critically acclaimed TV shows ever. Um, and he was look. The Fantastic Four movies in 2005 and 2007, they weren't very good. But I mean, Michael Chiklis was great as Ben Grimm. He was great as the Thing. That's just he was awesome. He's just great. He was in Eagle Eye. He was in Gotham. He's done so much. He's great. So and it's I wonder. I since this movie is filming right now, I don't think his role will be big, but I could be entirely wrong. I mean, however big his role is, it's going to be memorable because it's Michael Chiklis and he's awesome. So, jump in the comment section and let me know what you guys think about Michael Chiklis joining Tyrant. Okay. Moving on here. Let me see. Oh, okay. So, you might recall from, I think it was an episode or two ago, I talked about this this serial killer procedural film called The Mannequin. And Melissa Leo, who is awesome, who I love, Melissa Leo is going to be in this movie. She's going to be the lead in this movie titled The Mannequin. And there's been more casting news regarding this movie. This article is on Deadline, published by Andreas Weissman. This article says Lily Reinhart from Riverdale and Forbidden Fruits has joined Oscar winner Melissa Leo in the thriller The Mannequin, the next film from Dangerous Animals director Sean Byrne. Um, so yeah, Lily Reinhardt is going to be. I'm going to be honest. I'm not familiar with her. Um, I am like I'm familiar with the with Riverdale and Forbidden Fruits, but I haven't like those the I never watched those shows because that's just not my uh, they don't appeal to me. I guess is the best way to say it. So Lily Reinhardt's going to be in this movie. Um, I what I will say is this: I think Lily Reinhardt, being a young actress, is I think working with such an accomplished actress like Melissa Leo is going to bring out the best in Lily Reinhardt. Um, and obviously, if this movie is good and if it's successful, it's going to be great for uh, Lily Reinhardt's career. Um, being in such a high profile movie with Melissa Leo. Um, Unfortunately, I don't have much more to say about this, so I apologize for that. But it's going to be filming this summer. Um, so that's awesome. So yeah, so I apologize. I don't have much more to offer, more to say about this. But I'll Melissa Leo, yeah, the serial killer procedural film, yeah, sign me up, yeah. Okay, moving on here. So we we live in a time now where video game to film and TV adaptations seem to be getting better, certainly better than they used to be. Um, the um, Last of Us, the Sonic the Hedgehog movies. There are all these video game to film and TV adaptations that are well received critically and financially. Well, we're getting another one, and this one is interesting. Um, this article um, is on CBR, published on May 19th. Um, the rise of this article says the rise of video game adaptations will continue. Next up on the list is Broken Sword. Excuse me. As the first feature film adaptation for the video game series is finally coming to fruition after 3 decades. Per Variety, it has been revealed that a Broken Sword movie is now in development from the game's studio, Revolution Software. Excuse me. Alongside producer Story Kitchen. Evan Spiliotopoulos, the screenwriter of Disney's live-action Beauty and the Beast remake, is on board to pen the script for the Broken Sword adaptation. It marks one of several video game adaptations for Story Kitchen, the team behind the Sonic the Hedgehog movies and Amazon's upcoming Life is Strange series. So yeah, Broken Sword is getting a film adaptation. Um, yeah, so cool. So here's what I'll say. Evan Spiliotopoulos, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, um, wrote, as this article points out, wrote the live action Beauty and the Beast remake. I really enjoyed that movie, the Beauty and the Beast live action. I really enjoyed it. I thought there were elements of that movie that were more fleshed out in than they were in the animated movie, and I love the animated movie. Certainly one of the best animated Disney animated films ever. But I think there were things in the live action one that were more fleshed out. The addition of new songs, I think, was one of the things that helped that movie. I really enjoyed the live action Beauty and the Beast. So the fact that the screenwriter of that Beauty and the Beast movie is writing this Broken Sword movie. Okay, sounds good to me. Broken Sword is a beloved video game franchise. And I hope that they don't screw it up. But seeing as how it's the screenwriter from the live action Beauty and the Beast, I don't think it will be screwed up. So yeah, again, we seem to be living in a time now where video game to film and TV adaptations are actually good, and I think this could be one of them. I do have one concern, and that is that the first Broken Sword video game came out in 1996. Like, I know Broken Sword is popular amongst avid gamers, but will anybody else see this movie? I don't know. That's my only concern, I guess. But we'll see. Hopefully it's good, and hopefully it's successful, and we'll get more of these video game to film and TV adaptations. Right now, I'm just looking forward to seeing this movie. So jump in the comments section and let me know what you guys think about a Broken Sword film adaptation. Okay, so moving on here. And this is something that I honestly had no idea about until now. So, I'm trying to think of the best way to say this. There was, I remember seeing the first trailer for Creed back in 2015, which starred Michael B. Jordan as Adonis Creed, the son of Apollo Creed, and Sylvester Stallone was going to be coming back as Rocky Balboa. And I remember seeing the first teaser trailer, the first trailer for it, and I'm like, is anybody going to be interested in this movie? Like a 7th movie in this Rocky franchise? And you know what? I'll be honest. For the most part, I really enjoy the Rocky franchise. The previous film, Rocky Balboa, which is the one where Sylvester Stallone, Adrian had died, and Rocky, he was telling Paulie, I think I still got something left in the tank. I got to get it out. And it was the one where he fought where Rocky fought the guy that was like 30 years younger than he is. It ain't over till it's over. What's that from? The 70s? What's that from? The 80s? That's probably the 70s. And I loved that movie. I thought that was. I didn't think that movie was going to be any good at all, and I loved it. And then that was in 2006, and then in 2015, I saw the trailer for Creed, and I'm like, hasn't this franchise run its course by now? And to my surprise, pleasant surprise, I should say, Creed was great. Creed was great. And also, to my pleasant surprise, Rocky was not the main character. That movie was about Adonis Creed, the son of Apollo Creed, and Rocky had a supporting role. And I will say that Sylvester Stallone's performance as Rocky Balboa in that first Creed movie is the best performance Sylvester Stallone has done since the first Rocky movie. He was great, and he won the Golden Globe, and he got an Oscar nomination for that performance. And I'll say it, he should have won. He should have won because he was, and usually I'm not that person like, oh, he shouldn't have won. They shouldn't have won. Normally I'm not that person. But Sylvester Stallone should have won for Best Supporting Actor for the first Creed movie. Michael B. Jordan was great. It was directed by Ryan Coogler. The way the camera moved around the ring, that movie's fucking awesome. And I really enjoyed Creed 2 as well. I really enjoyed it. Bringing back Dolph Lundgren as, Drago. Bringing back Dolph Lundgren as Ivan Drago. And seeing Stallone and Dolph Lundgren play those characters again. That was really cool. I really enjoyed Creed 2. I have not seen Creed 3. I've heard it's great. And it was Michael B. Jordan's directorial debut, I believe. I've heard it's great. Yeah. So, something I didn't know was there's going to be this spinoff TV series. There's going to be a Creed spin-off series. And this is something that I didn't honestly know about until now. I'm just going to read this article here. Excuse me. This article is on Joe Blow, published by Cody Haman. On May 12th, it was announced that Prime Video was expanding the Creedverse. Didn't know that was a thing. Was expanding the Creedverse by ordering Delphi, a Creed spin-off series that will focus on the young boxers at the Delphi gym seen in the Rocky and Creed movies. 1 year and 1 week later, this was on May 12th, 2025. I had no idea that this was going to be a thing. 1 year and 1 week later, we know who's going to be starring in the series. Deadline reports that the Delphi cast includes Benji Santiago from Broadway's The Notebook, Juan Castano from Rob Peace, Damian Bashir from Black Phone 2, Andre Holland from Love Brooklyn, Andre Royo from The Punisher: One Last Kill, Sophia Black D'Elia from Remarkably Bright Creatures, and Victoria Ver, Vercutiatis from Elsbeth. Vercutiatis? All of whom are taking on series regular roles. In recurring roles, we'll see Wood Harris, Niles Fitch, Dasan Fraser, Graham Patrick Martin, Brittany Adabu, Adabumola, Renee Morin, Okia Riete Onadowan, and Brianna Yeed. I apologize profusely if I mispronounced any of those names. This article does go on to say that Delphi follows a group of gifted young boxers in an elite academy fighting to achieve their dreams and reach the pinnacle of the sport. So I am familiar with a couple of these cast members. Damien Bashir from Black Phone 2 and Andre Royo from The Punisher One Last Kill. And I like both of them. I do like the fact, actually I love the fact, that as far as I'm concerned, these are not all the actors in this cast are virtually unknowns. They're young actors. They're not A-list actors. They've had minor supporting roles in other things, as far as I know. So I think this there's an echo of art imitating life, where Michael B. Jordan has sought out Michael B. Jordan and the casting director of this show have sought out young actors to be in this series based on a popular film series. So I just want to point something out here. In a recurring role, we are going to see Wood Harris. Now, Wood Harris played. He was in the first Creed movie. He played Adonis's trainer. And so that's going to be cool. Yeah. So yeah. This is, I believe, hold on just a second. Yeah. I want to make sure. I think I know somebody else in this. Hold on. Yeah, okay. So Andre Holland is going to be in this show. Andre Holland, he was in Moonlight, and he was also in the Jackie Robinson movie 42 with Chadwick Boseman and Harrison Ford. He played Wendell Smith. And he's great. He was great. Yeah, this sounds really cool. This sounds really cool. I hope it's good. I hope it's successful. Um, and um, I Wood Harris again. He played he played the trainer of Apollo Creed, and he was also Adonis's trainer, and he was in all three Creed movies. So this sounds really cool. Hopefully it's good, and we'll see where this show goes. And maybe Michael B. Jordan, not to take anything away from any of the other cast members, but maybe Michael B. Jordan will show up in this show too. That'd be cool. That would be cool. This sounds really interesting. I'm down for this. Delphi. Yeah, yeah, for sure. So jump in the comment section and let me know what you guys think about this Delphi TV series that will premiere on Prime. Okay, so a couple more bits of news today. So one of the more polarizing film directors these days is Michael Bay. And I say these days because I don't think he used to be. I think Michael Bay. Look, say whatever you want about the Transformers movies, but that film franchise is a multi-billion-dollar franchise. The two or three of those movies have made $1 billion. I say Michael Bay has been he's probably been a polarizing filmmaker over the past 20 years because of the Transformers movies. I don't think he was everybody hates on him now. Again, because of the Transformers movies. It wasn't always like that. Look, Michael Bay has a distinctive style to his films. This fast cutting, lots of action. It's I'm trying to think of the best way to say it. This kind of stylistic, lots of special effects and lots of very stylistic, visuals, and he has a very distinctive style. I like that. And you know what? When it comes to directing action movies, he's one of the best. However, you could also say that the scripts that he directs from, some of them aren't that good. Here's the thing. He doesn't write those movies. At least not to my knowledge. Yeah. Here's the thing. He's never written any of the Transformers movies. So if you're going to hate on the Transformers movies, hate on the writing. Don't hate the direction, because Michael Bay did a great job directing those movies. It's just that depending on how you feel about those movies weren't written very well. And here's the thing. Michael Bay makes movies for teenage boys. That's a fact. He just does. For better or for worse, he makes movies for teenage boys. And by the way, he's pretty damn good at it. And you know, if I want to turn my brain, I'll say it. If I want to turn my brain off for 2 or 3 hours, I'll put on a Transformers movie. Those movies, I do get enjoyment out of those movies. I know I'm going to get some backlash for that. I don't care. If I want to see a fast-paced action movie involving Transformers movies, and I want to turn my brain off for 3 hours, I'll watch a Transformers movie. Michael Bay also directed. He directed Armageddon. He directed the first 2 Bad Boys movies. He directed The Rock with Nicolas Cage and Sean Connery, which is really, really good. He did this movie back in 2022 called Ambulance with Jake Gyllenhaal, which I heard was actually as far as like the word of mouth and reviews are concerned, it got the best reviews of Michael Bay of his entire career. But he's you know, say whatever you want about the Transformers movies. They make $1 billion, every single one of them. Michael Bay ain't never going to win a Best Director or Best Picture Oscar. But he does direct action extremely well. And again, I'm a fan of his style. I'm a fan of what he's contributed to the action movie genre. But he hasn't directed a film. Actually, there was a documentary that he did. I want to make sure I get this correct. There was a documentary that that he did in 2025 called "We Are Storer," and it was this. It was a documentary about this parkour team called Storer. Storror, Storer. And it was this parkour documentary. And he directed it. I've heard it's great. I really want to watch it. Because I love that kind of shit, you know. But he hasn't directed a narrative feature since that 2022 Ambulance movie with Jake Gyllenhaal. Until now. This article is on Joe Blow, published by Kevin Fraser. Deadline reports that Michael Bay is set to direct a movie for Universal Pictures, which will tell the true story of the recent rescue mission to save 2 downed pilots behind enemy lines in Iran. The film will be based on the upcoming book by Mitchell Zuckoff, which will be published in 2027. When an F-15E Strike Eagle was downed during Operation Epic Fury in early April, 2 U.S. airmen were left trapped behind enemy lines in the Zagros Mountains of Iran. A massive rescue mission was launched, and the extraction successfully recovered the pilot and the weapons systems officer. The mission quickly drew international attention and caught Bay's eye as a potential project. The director has collaborated with the U.S. military on many movies. That's also he's got a great relationship with the U.S. military. The director has collaborated with the U.S. military on many movies, including the Transformers franchise and 13 Hours, The Secret Soldiers of Benghazi. Um, Actually, in that movie, um, there was a, he did this movie called 13 Hours, The Secret Soldiers of Benghazi. And it's decent. And it starred John Krasinski, and it's pretty, it's decent. Um, he also directed this movie called Pain and Gain with Mark Wahlberg and The Rock, and that's decent. But anyway, I just wanted to throw those other two films out there as part of Michael Bay's direct movies that he's directed. So yeah, so he's going to be directing this film about two downed pilots and a rescue mission to save them behind enemy lines in Iran. I'm trying to think of the best way to say this. I can't help but think or wonder. I can't help but think that there are I can't help but wonder if there are political puppet strings being pulled by our current administration for Michael Bay to make this movie. That has nothing to do. Look, I'm not saying the movie's going to be bad, but I can't help but think that there could be strings being pulled for Michael Bay to make a movie about this true story, simply because of Michael Bay's relationship with the U.S. military and, this Operation Epic Fury, which is don't get me started. Just even as the name Operation Epic Fury, it's a good story for it's a good idea for a story for a movie. I'll say that. And I'm not saying the movie's going to be bad. I'm not saying it's going to be good. I'm saying that um, that this presents a good opportunity to. This is a good. This rescue mission provides an opportunity to tell a story about what really happened, about this incident that happened. But I also feel that, again, I can't help but wonder if there are strings being pulled by our current administration for Michael Bay because he's had a good relationship with our military in the past. Oh, let's get Michael Bay to direct this movie about something that happened during Operation Epic Fury or whatever. Not that that's, I think, and that could dissuade people from seeing this movie. And I also think that, unfortunately, I also think that what Michael Bay did with the Transformers movies, whether you like them or whether you don't, and I personally, they're fun for me to watch. I can turn my brain off for 2 or 3 hours. They're fun for me. I know a lot of people hate them, but the fact is that 2 or 3 of those movies have made $1 billion. So obviously people enjoy them. But I also think that the fact is that those Transformers movies left a bad taste in in a lot of people's mouths. And seeing Michael, ever since those Transformers movies, anytime audiences see Michael Bay direct from a movie from director Michael Bay, people go ugh, which I think is unfair because he's directed some pretty decent movies. And by the way, again, those Transformers movies, if you're going to get mad at those movies, get mad at the scripts, not the direction. Get mad at the writing. Get mad at the right people involved. But these are the concerns that I have regarding this upcoming movie. Potential puppet strings being pulled, all that stuff. And again, this seems like this incident seems like a good story to tell for a narrative film. And I do think that because of Michael Bay's ongoing relationship with the U.S. military, I do think that Michael Bay is a good person to direct this, to make this film. But I do have theories, I have concerns, and maybe they're unwarranted, and maybe they're warranted concerns, and maybe they're not. I again, I like Michael Bay's style of directing. I have no doubt that this movie is at least going to be decent. Is at least going to be decent. You know. So yeah. So I like. I will say this: I like movies that are based on true stories. Uh, Whether it's a military movie or not, it's whatever. So we'll see. I mean, maybe people will roll their eyes over this, and maybe this will draw audiences in to see a Michael Bay movie. I don't know. Who knows? It sounds interesting. Um, it sounds. Um, yeah, it sounds like a good story. That it sounds like a something that is ripe for a narrative feature film. That's all I'll say. That's all I'm gonna say. Hopefully it's, I have no doubt that it's gonna be decent. That it's gonna be decent, at least because, you know. But I like Michael Bay. I know I'm repeating myself, but I just wanted to talk about this for a minute. So yeah, so jump in the comment section and let me know about what you think about Michael Bay directing this movie for Universal Pictures about this true story regarding two downed pilots behind enemy lines in Iran. Okay, so one last bit of news here. And this is interesting. So, and I say it like that because, like, again, like I said on my last episode, I think, one of the perks of being a grown adult is that I can watch whatever kind of movie I want. Um, and this last bit of news here seems like it concerns a movie that it will basically be for grown adults. So this article is on Variety, published by Nick Vivarelli. This article says that Mick Jagger is set to star in Italian director Alice Rohrwacher's adaptation of U.S. author Audrey Niffenegger's novel Three Incestuous Sisters, alongside previously announced cast members Dakota Johnson, Josh O'Connor, Saoirse Ronan, Jessie Buckley, and Isabella Rossellini. Let me see here. Three Incestuous Sisters marks the first English language feature by Rohrwacher, who was a two-time Cannes Film Festival Prize winner with The Wonders and Happy as Lazaro. The buzzy film is based on Niffenegger's illustrated Gothic novel about three sisters living in isolation, whose relationship is disrupted by the arrival of a lighthouse keeper's son. Other plot details are being kept under wraps. According to unconfirmed Italian press reports, Mick Jagger is playing the lighthouse keeper, whose son is being played by Josh O'Connor. Now, three sisters living in isolation whose relationship is disrupted by the arrival of a lighthouse keeper's son. And the title is called Three Incestuous Sisters. You can probably imply what's going to happen. Possibly. I don't know. I could be way off. Isabella Rossellini is an icon. She's great. Mick Jagger, obviously. What's interesting is I don't know how many people know this, but Mick Jagger does have acting experience. He was in that sci-fi movie Free Jack, which was a complete flop. He played a drag queen in this movie called Bent in 2015. He played this. He was in this movie called The Man from Elysium Fields in 2001. So he's got some acting experience. So he's going to be, unconfirmed, he's going to be playing the lighthouse keeper. Okay, so this definitely sounds like a movie for adults. So I love this cast. Isabella Rossellini's a star. She's an icon. Josh O'Connor. I first saw Josh O'Connor, I believe, in yes. I first saw Josh O'Connor in Challengers with Zendaya. And yeah. He's going to be in let me see what else. Oh, he's going to be in the new Steven Spielberg movie that's coming, Disclosure Day, which looks great. So I really like him. I love Saoirse Ronan, obviously. Um, she's. What's funny is that I watched Lady Bird for the first time like 4 or 5 years ago, and I loved it. Saoirse Ronan's great. Um, Jessie Buckley, obviously coming off of her Oscar win for Hamnet. Um, Dakota Johnson. Dakota Johnson was in this movie. I think because of the 50 Shades of Grey movies and the awful Madam Web movie that she was in. I think because of those movies, people underestimate how talented she is. She was in this movie with Shia LaBeouf called Peanut Butter Falcon, and she's great. She's great in those movies. And obviously being what was I going to say? Obviously being the daughter of Don Johnson and Melanie Griffith, you know, that goes a long way as well. Uh, and yeah, yeah, she's yeah. So this sounds uh, really interesting, and again, definitely a movie for adults. Mick Jagger, I mean, come on. The fact that uh, the frontman for the Rolling Stones is going to play this lighthouse keeper. I mean, come on, that's awesome. Um, but I love this cast. This sounds really like this could get really. Uh, I could be completely wrong, but this sounds like it's going to get really steamy really quick. And you know what? I am down for that. I am down for that. Whew. Anyway, um, yeah. So this sounds really interesting. Sounds great cast. I'm in. So jump in the comments section and let me know what you guys uh, think about this. Well, that'll about do it for this episode today. I hope I didn't uh, ramble on or repeat myself too much. I know that I have a tendency to uh, do that sometimes when I'm trying to get my point across. That's part of my. Despite doing this for 70 episodes now, I sometimes I do struggle uh, to make my point or to formulate my thoughts in a cohesive manner. I am trying to. I always try to get better, but I hope I didn't do that much. Do it that much today. But that'll do it for today's episode. Uh, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I hope you guys continue to enjoy in the future. Continue to enjoy the show in the future. Um, I, yeah, I think, yeah, I don't know. Um, yeah, I hope everyone's doing well. I hope everyone's doing okay. I'm going to probably chillax for the rest of the day. It's my day off, so I'm probably going to not do much for the rest of the day. Um, but yeah, so I hope you guys, if you have any questions about or comments about film franchises, or if you want me to talk about certain movies or get my thoughts and opinions about anything, you can email me. You can leave a comment. Whatever. So I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you enjoyed the rest of your day. And until next time, I will see you at the movies.